They're equipped for the summer heat in Sacramento, California, and the summer of soccer has only just begun. Justin Portillo is the prized midseason acquisition for the Republic, sitting near the top of the Western Conference. Well, Corey Bennett is in the form of his life for a rising Las Vegas Lights. Las Vegas and Sacramento, it's the USL on CBS Sports. We welcome you to the USL Championship on CBS Sports Network. From the Californian capital of Sacramento, the Republic set to welcome Las Vegas in desert-like conditions. Triple-digit temperatures in this early July day as we get you ready to kick off the 4th of July a little bit early with a big battle in the Western Conference. The standings show Sacramento in second place in hot pursuit of New Mexico, who are playing right now. Meanwhile, Las Vegas sits in the 8th and final playoff position. And good evening, everyone. Joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand, and we've got a great game in the wild, wild west of the championship. And Devin, the reality is Sacramento's seemingly always here. They're always competing for titles. Las Vegas, they've turned this whole thing around, unrecognizable from recent years.
Gone are the days where it was a guaranteed 3 points against Las Vegas Lights. They're now balanced, they're pretty on the ball, and they're efficient in their ways. But this is still one of the best teams in the entire USL Championship in Sacramento Republic, who now are not only seeking USL Championship glory, but an opportunity for Open Cup title once again in a week's time.
Yep, they'll see Sacramento in 6 days right here in Sacramento. And if you are this Republic side, Danny Vitiello is playing at another level.
Defensively, this has always been what this team has relied upon, but it's come down to confidence for Danny Vitiello that has once again pushed him into the upper echelon of best goalkeepers in the USL Championship. #1 for my money. When you take a look at active goalkeepers in the league right now, with a minimum of 100 appearances, Danny Vitiello leads in shutouts per game and goals against average. It's come down to confidence. Mark Briggs says that he's struggled with it in the past, but playing at a very high level right now that has sparked this team going forward. Las Vegas Lights, talked about it. This is a very different conversation now. This team, they struggled for wins. They didn't have an identity. There was a brief amount of time under Eric Ronaldo where you thought, okay, maybe they're turning the corner here and getting something, but that fastly faded. Now all of a sudden, stylistically, Dennis Sanchez has them playing the beautiful game the right way. Balls on the deck. Second most efficient team in the USL Championship. They like to find a way to make you feel uncomfortable. But in order to carry the ball that much, you have to have a catalyst going forward, and that's Valentin Noel. Now, they're operating with him in the 10 right now, but it's the idea to always have him involved in those movements coming forward. He's really good coming out of the pocket. This is a guy who finished as one of college soccer's best players just 2 short seasons ago. He was second in the voting for the Mac Herman Award. He's comfortable in the final third. He's comfortable coming down deep. He's the type of guy that you want on your team because you can play through him, but more importantly, he makes every other player around him better.
Former first-round pick of Austin was ACC Player of the Year at Pitt. Fire up the drums. Here we go in Sacramento, California. Former MVP Solomon Asante and Las Vegas take on the Republic next on CBS Sports. onto the field, Sacramento and Las Vegas. It is a scorcher this evening and an early celebration for the 4th of July. A happy Independence Day for those preparing to celebrate tomorrow. With Devin Kerr, Mike Watts, take a look at the Sacramento lineup. Dare I say unchanged under Mark Jonathan Briggs.
First goal in goals conceded, second in shutouts overall. This team is about being structured defensively, very organized, tight lines, difficult to play through. But as they start to move forward here with the absence of Roro Lopez due to injury, watch Luis Felipe come a little bit higher. They like to tuck in on the outside. I'm watching Justin Portillo underneath. Defensively, you don't want to allow him to get isolated in transition because of the way that Las Vegas lights are going to come at you. Specifically, Valentin Noel. We talked about that 10 spot. As he comes high, he's going to float out of those pockets. It could really struggle with the shape of Sacramento Republic overall. That bodes well for Las Vegas lights. They want to be on the ball. The question is, can they stay tightly knit as they move in transition? They have a tendency to open themselves up. Good news is, defensively, it's been better. That back four together now, 4 games in a row.
So Dennis Sanchez able to keep a little bit of continuity. There's Justin Portillo. He was acquired midseason from Tulsa. The injuries very easily would have ravaged another club, but this Sacramento team has been able to tread water and started to find their way again. Corey Bennett, an incredible run, 6 goals in his last 5 games, including goals in the last 3. Jeremy Shearer, the referee tonight, and here we go. Temps over 110 degrees here in Sacramento for a high earlier today. Thankfully, the sun will set. The temps will plummet as we continue through the night. It's the lights away to the Republic. Driven away by Vidiello. Dev, you and I had the chance to speak with the Las Vegas staff. Indicated by the time Joey Batista took over the lights, Dennis Sanchez jumped into the mix. They didn't really have any conversation about the schedule. It had already been given, and the reality is that makes for a extremely difficult experience. 4 straight road games. And you could argue it's a bit of a referendum on the Las Vegas season, these 4 games and how far they've grown, but it's going to be an extraordinarily difficult run, even when they leave the desert and find another one in Northern California. Apologize for the technical difficulties you may have suffered at home. Hold over by Hafferty. Driven long, Bennett pursues, there's Vidiello.
Well, we talked about how different things are for the Las Vegas lights, whether it's points per game, goals being able to be buried in the back of the net in the final third. Certainly, they've started to shore themselves up on the back line. Now all of a sudden, 6 games unbeaten, which includes 2 wins. That's not a conversation that you normally have for this team. They've been good on the road as well as at home. Haven't had to adjust their style like we've seen in years past when they ventured away from the home venue. Good blend of both quality players that carry youth around them, but also experience within the system as well. The Sacramento Republic team that is, they're going through their own growing pains right now, albeit in a different fashion. Plagued by the injury bug, no excuses, Mark Briggs says, but it's Roro Lopez, it's Russell Cicerone, Lee Desmond, although available for selection on the bench tonight, the most recent victim of that. And just as good as they are defensively, trying to find a way to continue to push the threshold in the final 30 yards and in. Although let's be fair, that's a narrative that we've heard a couple of years in a row now for them.
Smart. Hafferty. Hinzone. Nigro. And Gondo, pitchforking forward, taken out of the air, knocked down. That deflected away, comes out to Luis Felipe. And Sacramento start the charge the other direction. Pirano. Felipe returns to Pirano. He's really stepped up in the absence of Cicerone. Felipe reverses. Gurr hangs the cross, seeking Ammon. Comes up high to Noel.
It's not just the fact that he stepped up due to Russell Cicerone and certainly Roro Lopez, but the way that they want to play.
Oh, what a ball. Gannon on the other end. Gannon onto his left. He curls it high and wide.
Again, it changes all of the looks for Sacramento Republic going forward, but this is one of those things that I talked about, that when you start to come high and Portillo gets isolated, all of a sudden he starts to make that step because he feels like he has to go close that space down, and that's where it's going to open up centrally. Now, the one-on-one actually comes from the outside with Coleman Gannon, who's got the speed and the ability to invert. But it is that space directly across the middle where they go forward. Portillo just holding serve in front of that back three that Las Vegas is going to look to isolate.
There's Mark Briggs, has led this team to the Open Cup final, as an Open Cup quarterfinal coming up on Tuesday night when they host the Seattle Sounders. And without doubt, there's not going to be an MLS job available in America that won't have his name in that conversation, although he and Todd Donovan have proven to be perfect partners in this Republic project.
Well, I can tell you right now, not only has his name been floating around, he has been approached by multiple teams. It's got to be the right fit at the right time for both parties, to be fair, but no stranger to success in this league. Certainly when he came in with Real Monarchs back in 2017. #1 overall team in the USL Championship that season. The familiarity within that group actually led him back to chasing down one of those players, Justin Portillo, who was a part of that group. Roro Lopez goes down. They had to try and find a way to solidify some of the space within the midfield. Justin Portillo became available. Easy to switch and go grab him.
Nigro. Here's Zingando. Ball pops free. Ammon. Pressured by Hafferty to win the ball back for the Lights. Smart kept it in. But overreaching for Gannon. Ball picked off Ngando. Noel has the option of Nigro wide, instead cutting back in. Fortune, good give and go. Fortune with a deflection. That'll carry him, and no luck yet for Dre Fortune, who celebrates his 28th birthday today. Brother Ajani playing down in Atlanta. Jay Fortune. That's a talented family.
Does the fortune and luck comment take you long to think up last night, or is that just a natural part of your word selection process?
It just came to me. Into the Republic bench. Well, if you're Aldair Sanchez and you're Sean Smart today, you are thanking the heavens that the coin flipped in the manner that it did, that you land in the shadows in the wide areas as opposed to in the sunlight. Las Vegas, to be fair, under Dennis Sanchez in their first year, have already moved up their training times in the desert to 9 a.m. Try and beat the Heat. 21 points, tied anywhere between 7th and 9th on points at this stage. And they've already outperformed their point total from all of last season, where they won just 3 games and finished on 19 points.
There's a real commitment to what they're trying to do right now in Las Vegas, and I mentioned that they want the ball on the deck. They want to shift you side to side. More importantly, it's not just about tempo. Now, they have the ability to quickly move from one end to the other, but that used to basically be all they were capable of. Sit, hold pressure, and then counter come in the other direction. Much better patience now. You've seen a really good look about what Dennis Sanchez is trying to get this team to do. They spread you wide, they work through the middle, and then the second that you start to be aggressive and come out, they can play up over the top, and certainly find their talented players in the final third.
And they're down 3 critical people tonight. Charlie Adams, Fabian Garcia, Nedison Azcona on short-term injuries. And then you start to dig into the long-term injury list, and you realize this Las Vegas team is performing quite admirably considering all that's unavailable to them at the moment. ACLs, meniscus, MCL. It's been an unkind season for the Lights. Noel. Here's Raiko Arozarena. Noel. Wonderful ball. And Zone goes to work and went for goal. And he scored. How in the world did he sneak that inside of Vitiello? Las Vegas has the lead on the road at Sacramento.
Both of these teams are built on balance, and if there's going to be success tonight, we kept pointing to Valentin Noel. Here's why. Notice how deep he drops. All of a sudden, the shape shifts for Sacramento Republic. Pirano is narrow. Jack Gurr is isolated outside. He comes really high, and all of a sudden, there's a lot more space down into that channel. Well recognized by Valentin Noel. He immediately looks up, finds the runner down into the corner, and now you're just asking one of those playmakers in a one-on-one situation to try and find a way to create separation on his own. He does with the slimmest of margins through the tiniest of windows to give them the lead.
His first goal for Las Vegas comes in the 10th minute. You know, you look at where the boards are behind that goal, and almost felt like a visual mind game with you a little bit. The way it rolled in appeared to have gone behind the netting, but very much a magnificent goal for Pinzon, the opener tonight. 10 goals the last 2 seasons at Rio Grande Valley. And only the 14th goal conceded all season by Sacramento. There's nothing in the way this game has gone so far that would indicate it, but you do have to wonder, Sacramento, all the glory they sustained reaching the final of the 2022 Open Cup. They play on Tuesday night, hosting Seattle, a chance for another one of those really special nights here at Heart Health Park. You wouldn't blame a team for perhaps overlooking the league fixture.
Well, I can tell you that they are, in fact, thinking about the way they wanted to attack the game progressing into the second half, and everybody at home is going to say, yeah, obviously, thanks a lot, Devin, but specific players that will not be named at this point in time. The idea being is they wanted to try and rotate early on within the second because of the heat, because of the quality of fixture that is up and coming. But here's the biggest difference that they are experiencing in 2024 compared to that final run in 2022 is fixture congestion overall and the length of time in between games. They were operating regularly on 3 or 5 days rest. They're going to get 6 days rest in this situation because the game is next Tuesday. It's great planning early on by the crew to think, if we go that deep into the well of an Open Cup run, what do our games look like that are going to surround it? They struggle that, specifically heading into the final against Orlando City.
No doubt, and after they advanced out of the round of 16, having that discussion along with the league and an opponent to move a game into September to alleviate this weekend's fixture makes a substantive difference to that. Las Vegas no stranger to the final third thus far. Racing forward, tapped that by Smart. Trying to get on the other end of it, and leaves Alder Sanchez on the ground. Las Vegas, some really good buildups.
What do we say? They want to play the beautiful game the right way, put the ball on the deck. #1 in passes in USL Championship, second in terms of their level of efficiency within that conversation. There's no question this team can play, and they can play pretty. And the biggest question for me as this season has gone on is going to be, great, you can look pretty going forward, but on the defensive side of things, how good can you be? And that's where they've struggled the most. I would say that the biggest area was Dennis Sanchez has used 12 different players in combination on that back line, primarily operating out of a 4. They've played a couple of games in a 3, but all of a sudden 4 games in a row with the same back 4 combination.
Jeremy Shear blows for a free kick. 30 yards out. A lightning run from Pirano forces the foul from Howell.
You wonder how much they try and counteract some of the movement that will be the midfield for the Las Vegas Lights. JC Ngondo, Dre Fortune, they're going to rotate side to side and back and forth. Valentin Noel, as we've seen, will come deep, but there will be space there for them to step into, and that is the bread and butter of Pirano. One-on-ones down into the channel, and his opportunity to cut back to the inside and challenge that gray area right in front of the defensive unit.
Raiko Rosarena, who was featured for the Cuban national team the past couple of years. Putting the wall in position, one of a trio of Vegas goalkeepers who've seen time this year, though he's seen the majority, his 10th start. Ball blasted right into the wall. Second go lifted into the Tower Bridge Battalion. And that ball's for the Quails. His brother Randy, that tremendous 2020 postseason run with the Rays. The following year, Rosarena started the final for Tampa Bay Rowdies, ultimately a loss to Orange County after Evan Laurel was injured. A baseball player initially, like his brother, but later followed his father's footsteps as a goalkeeper. Back from Pinzon. Launch for Ngondo. Connor Donovan puts it in the bleachers. This is usually a guaranteed sellout, even on weeknights. But 110 degrees. Oppressive heat. Also that big fixture next Tuesday night.
How would you fare in this weather?
Puddle. Would turn into a physical embodiment of a puddle.
You and head coach Mark Briggs would both need to invest or at least find a sponsorship in the suntan lotion area.
Yeah, that's true enough. All grabbed by Vidiello.
It's a missed market in my opinion.
Sunscreen?
And when it comes to footballers, why not?
Well, didn't he? He went with sun lotion, didn't he?
He's more of a lotion guy.
He is.
Yeah. A consummate family man telling us he's having trouble finding balance within proper sun coverage due to his family time away from the game as well as constant presence on the field in trainings.
Whistle's gone. Smart got harangued by Luis Felipe. Numbers pretty compelling in the past. This has been Sacramento's one-sided rivalry. As you mentioned in the open, outside of that stint under Eric Winalda, at no point did Las Vegas look like they were nearing anything close to coherent football. Until now. All smashed forward out of the reach of Pirano, or is it? Gannon trying to gallop through, ultimately plays it out to touch. Ross pursuing. Well, there's Sanchez taking off the ball. Had a real whirlwind picked up by Donovan. Timmer. Good build. Sanchez. The deflection angles off the back of his head. Stays with the Republic. Sanchez inside. Portillo. Timmer, there's the half turn, back through Portillo. Ross. Pinzone, return to sender. Cranked forward, would have been offside. So that's why Smart is able to knock it down easily for Arozarena.
This is what Sac does defensively, though, is they squeeze you into these small areas, play a high line of defensive pressure, and then as they push you to one side with that singular striker, it's so difficult to break through. That's where the back three becomes aggressive and starts to step into some of those tackles to retain possession.
Ball led high, and Gondo. And there goes Pirano. Trying to bypass Nigro. Ooh, substantive laceration around the eye. Not sure where we quite know where that happened. Dennis Sanchez having some words with the fourth. Let's see if we can get a look here.
There's a little bit of contact right there, and he immediately reaches. What's interesting is that it's on the back side of the elbow. And he's the one who runs into it. And I'm not saying right or wrong in that situation, but that's not an area normally, like the way that the contact is created, that you would think it would create such a wound.
Well, Pirano hoping it is, in fact, merely just a flesh wound.
Well, the fact that he's sitting there in a tactical session with the whiteboard leads me to believe that he's doing just fine. It's just got to find a way to close it off. You know, they've done so. That is some kind of gash, though.
Well, he appears poised to continue. That's good news. It'll be a drop ball here. Let's remind you the competition heating up this summer on CBS. Sacramento look for revenge against the red-hot Oakland Roots on Sunday, July 21st, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Then on August 3rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, it's surging Detroit City, hosting newcomer Rhode Island FC for the first time. The USL Summer of Soccer continues on CBS. How about Rhode Island, huh? Blowout El Paso, a big-time win at Louisville City, although the expected goals number would make you think it was quite a night for a reversal to the mean for Rhode Island. They've been shortchanged all year, but not that night. Noel knocks it wide, service in, over Noel, bounces down to Smart, and kicks out at Ross.
Rhode Island's not going to care of what the results look like right now because they're exactly what you just said, Mike. Their results, back-to-back wins, home and on the road. All of a sudden, all of those draws that you sort of looked at early on thinking, wow, is this tide ever really going to turn? Not only has it turned, it's kept it relevant in the playoff conversation, which is the most important thing because a lot of other teams that have stumbled out of the gate don't have that luxury. Miami FC, one of them. Certainly El Paso Locomotive comes to mind in the highly congested Western Conference. But Cano Smith and all the recruiting they did, they went and got last year's MVP and Albert Diqua. They've got good experience, young players they're trying to develop, and they've just kind of kept themselves hanging around within matches. Finally, have Lady Luck on their side.
Give them enormous credit for staying the tough road, giving up a ton of points from leading positions, including against playoff teams, but you don't consistently lead without having a little something there, and it appears they've figured it out. This drops in kindly here, Ammon by his lonesome, and finally engulfed by Howell. Noel, this looks familiar. Found Pinzone in an offside position. Our apologies for technical difficulties. Turns out the Heat running a bit of amok with our equipment in Sacramento. Gurr misfiring on a ball that's handled easily by Rosarena. Who would have thunk you shouldn't have broadcast games from the surface of the sun?
You are a special individual.
Well,
that at times it ceases to amaze me. They keep giving you the lead on this.
This will run all the way out. Rosarena will take this to the line. Hopefully, as the shade starts to take over the stadium here We'll have a better go of it moving forward, but apologies for the technical difficulties tonight in Sacramento. Bouncing by Pinzone. And a free kick here to the Republic. They put it back in play. Sacramento conceded just their 13th goal of the entire season through 16 games. The 10th minute, Pinzone from a tight angle managing the go-ahead for Las Vegas tonight. The Lights had an 8-game winless skid. They've turned that into 6 unbeaten since. Even in that span, 2 wins, 4 draws, they feel they've given away points that could improve what is currently playoff position for the Lights. In steps Gurr. And what a free kick for Sacramento. Jack Gurr's special breed for Sacramento, no doubt. Makes it all go.
Well, that's probably the understatement of the century with the metrics that Jack Gurr puts out, primarily in vertical fashion out on that right-hand flank. His ability to accelerate, create so much distance between he and the opponent, causes so many different pieces on the outside and within the midfield to shift over, which allows guys like Justin Portillo and Luis Felipe to get involved coming forward.
Portillo with his magic right peg. Bounced off the chest of Bennett. And a corner for the Republic. Sacramento wins all the little moments of games. That's what truly makes this team spectacular. They were the last to fall out of the ranks of the unbeaten. I promise you, even VAR would say that is very much not in the circle. Portillo. I should have moved it another couple of yards. Half an hour gone. And a well-deserved hydration respite. Las Vegas with a 1-0 lead here in Sacramento. 11,500 is your typical Sacramento sellout. It's been a banner year for the USL Championship. And earlier today, they welcomed in fan number 1 million of the young season through the turnstile on this hot, scorching day. Bring the confetti, the flags. Steven, welcome and enjoy the custom jersey, number 1 million.
It's a testament to the continued growth of this league within the U.S. soccer pyramid. The infrastructure put in place years ago, but all of a sudden it's these beautiful stadiums that we're not talking about a couple of hundred fans, maybe a few thousand here and there, pushing 5 digits every single week. And the reward?
Shade.
I was going to say the support of all these great local fans that are willing to give their undying devotion, but of course, your own custom jersey.
Yeah. Well, Steven has left that in the bag, kept on his traditional Sacramento white. Meanwhile, we did have quite the game earlier today on CBS Sports Network, and we might be off to a great start here tonight with Las Vegas grabbing the lead in the 10th minute of play. Christian Pinzone just 10 minutes in.
You know, they brought Sacramento Republic up high and then took advantage of the real estate in behind Valentin Noel, who had come deep off of the pocket to operate off the shoulder of JC Ngannou, and Dre Fortune found Pinzone down into the corner, and you know, he looked up for a second trying to find the trailing run. Unfortunately for him, Corey Bennett had been locked down defensively. So then this is what Dennis Sanchez brought you in for, that one-on-one capability when you don't have the ability to find the trailing runs. Grabs the opening goal of the game and his first in the Las Vegas Lights uniform.
Pinzone trialed at Chivas, coming out of Cal State Fullerton. Ultimately landed in the second division of Mexican soccer for a year, then made the move to Rio Grande Valley. Everyone feels well and hydrated. Onward we go tonight in Sacramento. That water slide has never looked so refreshing. Not once. Right in the state fairgrounds here in Sacramento. It's a really unique vantage point. It's hosted the Republic since its birth.
Never did get on that water slide when I was there for my Open Cup trip a couple of short years ago.
It's not too late.
And it wasn't by trying. Apparently, it was frowned upon. And they weren't interested in having me as a guest up on the slide with the park open all to myself. Who would have thought?
Noel, good leading touch. Opens it up for Gannon. Approaches the end line, turned away. Noel chops this in behind. Gannon, ball ricocheting around. Gannon got run over. Sanchez there. Smart picks it up. End line knocked off of Sanchez. That's a goal kick. Ricochet back off of Smart. And now it appears they've changed that call.
I would have been surprised if they pointed to the 6-yard box in this situation because it felt like the deflection came there, but good sustained pressure. And, you know, I mentioned earlier how classy they are on the ball. Also, the commitment to get numbers up forward, because it would be easy to try and push a few players because you're worried about the counterattack that can be so illustrious by the Sacramento Republic. Instead, you get guys up high, 5 and 6 players at a time, to allow yourself to have options within the box.
Pinzon and the leaping run of Hafferty. And a free kick won by the Republic the hard way. Felipe remains down. I'll talk about a guy who put his head in the lion's mouth if the ball were there. Felipe. Upfield from Donovan. Ngando stripped by the Republic. Sanchez. Wheat. Timmer spots a run off the edge. Gurr, corner. Sanchez near post. Gurr. Floats forward again. Timmer. Looping ball that's snatched by Arosarena. What an excellent distribution. If Pinzon can keep that in, he did. Pinzon dancing and scooped by Vidiello. And we'll tell you the USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for complete USL TV listings. Sanchez off of Smart. Well, there's Sanchez. Spots the run on the backside. From one wing back to the other. Floated up header. Ripped down off the head of Ammon by Arozarena.
Better, though, from Sacramento. It's a much smaller space that they have to occupy through. But they're able to go side to side and advanced. A couple of more troops coming forward. If you could make one argument for what they're lacking right now in the final third, it would really be a presence of the 9 overall, because Trevor Ammon is being eliminated by Hafferty and Malik Howell. A lot more of the game being played on the outside. Not a lot of support underneath from Ross Perano or Luis Felipe as they come forward. How interesting, by the way, in the conversation with Mark Briggs, that when you asked him about the 1-0 result against Hartford, he just said we needed the points.
Yep.
And this was about just finding a way to get points up on the board. Didn't really care what the performance overall looked like, but that it was a compliment to the team that they could find a way to go and win. That says something about their current situation, because they struggled against Tulsa in the 0-0. Same conversation in the 3-2 loss at home against Oakland. They weren't great against Monterey, albeit a 2-0 victory, and the loss against the Rowdies. This team is just struggling for rhythm right now, and it's no surprise that it's on the heels of the departure of Rodrigo Lopez, which was another ACL injury that saw them losing him for the season back on May 21st in their Open Cup round of 16 game against the San Jose Quakes.
"40 minutes gone. We needed the points. We needed a win at home. We didn't care what it looked like." In the end, it was a Sebastian Herrera 87th minute winner, just his 3rd minute into the game off the bench. And Herrera's long-awaited first of the year coming off injury.
You know where else my mind goes in that, Mike, is, okay, trying to find a way to get a victory to promote, right, what it feels like in the locker room to be positive again. You lose Roro Lopez. Russell Cicerone is out for an extended amount of time. Timetable still yet to be seen. The initial announcement was 10 to 12 weeks. Lee Desmond has also struggled with health overall this season. To me, those are all big personalities, guys that are leaders that give you the ability to push through those difficult moments that Sacramento are struggling with right now.
Roro embracing his inner Casey Stoney, grabbing a seat on the water cooler. Of course, the fabulous former coach of San Diego Wave. Ball brought down by Nigro. Worked inside to Smart. Slaloms his way into an attacking position. Hangs that over, going for goal. Bennett watches this. Carom out for a corner. How one goal can totally change your confidence. Corey Bennett's felt it.
This is something that became very comfortable for Sean Smart en route to a national title at Clemson University last year. Change in system that gave him a lot more freedom going forward and feeling comfortable on those inverted positions where JC Ngondo comes out. All of a sudden, you recreate what the look becomes going forward. Just a different flow to this Vegas team, and right now, the intensity by Sacramento, they're having trouble matching it.
All whipped in, there's Vitiello. And wants to go quickly for the incisive Christian Perano. Las Vegas coming off a 2-0 win at home against Pittsburgh. A team that they well acknowledge is playing far worse than the advanced metrics would lead you to believe, or far better than the metrics would make you believe. Unfortunate run of form for Pittsburgh. Nevertheless, run forward, left off for Bennett. Bennett! Vitiello got enough. 4 or 5 incredible saves, Mark Briggs said. about his 28-year-old netminder in the win against Hartford.
We discussed the clean lines, but Esperano comes out here. Jack Gurr gets tucked underneath. Not only that, how often do you see either he or Jared Timmer get turned that quickly? This time it's Timmer. You don't just lose the markup. All of a sudden, you lose an extra body in the midfield, and if you're Connor Donovan or Shane Wheat, you got to quickly slide over. They can't get there because of how smart JC Ngondo is to take that touch in a negative space to open up more action coming forward.
Pinzon. Flicked on towards Smart. Down the line, Ngondo. Trying to lead inside for Fortune. And another corner for the Lights. It's the only game ongoing in the league at this juncture. New Mexico won their match earlier tonight to expand their lead in the West to 6 points. 2-0 over Orange County. OC just losing their coach, who was transferred to Lingby, and Morton Carlson. Could Las Vegas possibly double their money? Pinzon had her lobbed centrally and taken out of the air by Ngondo. Put a charge into it. Nigro cut inside, the ball lofted back over Gannon. 4 added minutes at the end of the first half. Floated in again. Ngondo. He met his match, but still able to get it out to Smart. Smart cut back, Ngondo. Coming up at halftime, we'll take a look at the stats and highlights from this game. We'll also give you a look ahead to next week's Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal matches. Indy 11, New Mexico. And yes, Sacramento into the final 8 out of the championship.
This is certainly not the start that Mark Briggs wanted tonight, nor has it really progressed the way he would like. Slow into some of these tackles. They're not winning their individual battles. The depth in the midfield is struggling, and I'm not talking about personnel, but what the rotation looks like for Las Vegas Lights. Much too flat in their shape overall. They overcommit, they're slow to commit. Just a little bit of everything, unfortunately, for this team in the first half. The good news is it's only 1-0. They haven't given up a ton of opportunities, but they have not looked very clean on the ball. And Dennis Sanchez should be pretty happy. Team's controlled it. They've been able to show you a little bit of everything. Going long, clean on the ball, set pieces. Got to feel very happy after 45 minutes of work right now, if you're a Las Vegas Lights fan.
And yet, you'll say the next step in our evolution is to turn these performances into wins. They did it against Pittsburgh. If they can find a way to do it here against Sacramento, that'll raise some eyebrows. Also puts them right in the mixer for a home playoff game at this point. They'd be just 2 points off a third if this scoreline holds. They'd have to jump the Switchbacks, Memphis, and the Roots to do so. Rolled up by Donovan. Wheat. Held up by Nick Ross. Ross left it short. The idea was good. Halftime, and not a second too soon. Las Vegas grabs the opening goal from Pinzon in the 10th minute of play, his first of the year. And the Lights, trying to extend a 6-game unbeaten run, are ahead of the Republic at halftime. And Pinzon, who had scored 10 goals over the last couple of seasons at RGV, has his first marker as a member of the Lights. Coming up at halftime, a look ahead to the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup's vaunted quarterfinal round. The Republic don't look their sharpest, and the Lights, from a tight angle, grab the opening goal. This is the USL Championship on CBS Sports Network. And they're off to the races in Sacramento. Oh, wow, look at that speed. Racing across the halfway line and into the sprinklers. Welcome back, everyone. It is the USL Championship on CBS Sports. Joined with Devin, Mike. Thank goodness they're not making us run tonight.
That was me, actually.
Yeah, it looked just like it.
My former self, we'll say.
No doubt. Dev, what do you take out of that first half? For Sacramento, it's probably another night where they didn't successfully bring their absolute best for the full 90 based on that 45.
That's putting it politely, and I don't want to seem like I'm being down on them, but there's such a high expectation for one of the best teams in the USL Championship.
They're off to the races in Sacramento, running as if the Republic depended on it. Crossing the halfway line through the sprinklers. This is what you get when you come to Heart Health Park. It's 1-0 at halftime. Welcome in, everybody. Joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand. And the good news is they didn't make us run in this heat. I just don't have the juice, buddy.
That was me, my former self, out there doing the good Lord's work.
It was, yeah. Dev, let's chat about that first half. If you're Sacramento, it's probably another night where you're not going to feel like you got a full 90-minute performance in Las Vegas. They lead as a result.
You don't want to harp on the negative side for Sacramento, but we hold them to such high standards. That's the most flat I've seen them in opening half of soccer this year. It wasn't good enough. It was a great start, though, for Las Vegas Lights. I was so impressed with how well they were able to hold position and control the game, because position is everything here. Let's start with Valentin Noel. We said he had to be the guy that was going to help find this team successful. He does everything here. As he drops deep down in, you stretch some space, you move Justin Portillo, and they get him twice, because now all of a sudden you get Jared Timmer off the back line. Connor Donovan has to slide over. That's your center back, marking on the back three, out one-on-one against Pinzon, who grabs the opening goal. They couldn't get him coverage back on the inside. A very similar type move here. Now you're a little bit more aggressive in the midfield if you're Sacramento. JC Ngannou recognizes that. It's just a quick little spin right through. Now you're coming negative right across. This back three, specifically Connor Donovan and Jared Timmer, had a lot of problems with the rotation that Las Vegas was showing them in the opening 45 minutes.
Las Vegas holds 2/3 of the ball in the opening half and create 9 of the game's 12 shots. The numbers quite lopsided. The Lights with a 1-0 lead over Sacramento at halftime. This was pregame, a little 4th of July precursor. Well, Las Vegas is the side that's off and running on this Wednesday night. A look ahead to the Open Cup when we come back. Welcome back to the USL Championship on CBS Sports and the USL Summer of Soccer The Republic only 2 losses all year and still alive in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. Mike Devin, let's walk you through the matchups you're going to see Tuesday and Wednesday next week on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV+. Let's start with Atlanta and Indy.
To me, this is the biggest opportunity for a USL Championship team to get an upset because an Atlanta United team is struggling for form right now. They dismissed their head coach, Gonzalo Pineda. They've sold their striker. They've sold their number 10, Thiago Almada. And an Indy 11 team that's playing with a high amount of confidence. Sean McCauley has taken this team into a structured squad with players to now a free-flowing team that's comfortable anywhere on the pitch. 10 different goal scorers to their name. LAFC, New Mexico United, a clash of styles because LAFC is ball dominant that can hurt you in such a variety of ways. New Mexico United is the same thing. Control here is everything. If you don't have the ball, if you're Eric Quill, if Micheletto can't get on and dictate tempo for you, can you now conform your game to a different shape and still find success? That's going to be the most difficult game for a low division team. Last but not least, Sacramento Republic against the Seattle Sounders. Good news for Sac. Seattle struggled out of the gate. They had injuries, they have loss of form, guys away on national team duty, and just struggling overall. The bad news is they haven't lost in 4 games, and there's 1 loss in their last 11. This is about adaptability for a Sacramento Republic squad that can do a little bit of everything. I'd like to see Sacramento step the line, go toe-to-toe, open things up, and make this a wide-open match. That's where they're at their best.
And perhaps most notably, Seattle has not lost in their MLS era at Starfire in regulation in the Open Cup. But the game is here in Sacramento. 3 USL Championship teams remain in the Final 8. The other matchup, all MLS. Sporting Kansas City will host Dallas. Semis come late August. The final is September 25th. All right, we got more coming here in Sacramento. We've only just begun. 15 games in 41 days on national television for the championship, and it all starts right here, right now. Right here, right now. 1-0 Las Vegas at the break. will be changes in the second half for Sacramento. A triple sub via Darren Desmond in the back. Kieran Phillips up front, trying to overcome a 1-0 deficit at halftime. Joined by Devin Kerr, Mike Watts. The Republic have an enormous game, the quarterfinal of the Open Cup coming in 6 days' time on home ground against Seattle Sounders. Mark Briggs, well aware of the importance of that tournament. He led this club to the very pinnacle, the final in 2022 in Orlando. The fans here aware, however, that long ago expansion season title in 2014 has gotten a bit stale. They'd love to add another star. Las Vegas, their 7th season. They have never made the playoffs, but they're in playoff position right now, and a win would see them into 6th and just a couple points out of 3rd. Big game in the Western Conference as we kick off the holiday. A little bit early here in Sacramento. Jeremy Shear gives the go-ahead, and we continue. The shade has now covered the entirety of the field. Not a moment too soon. Temperatures will end up dipping some 25 degrees overnight here in Sacramento. Luis Felipe feeling himself. Gurr. And bounded away by Nigro. Well, Dev, you intimated that there would be fast changes for Sacramento. It's very hot. They've got a big game coming up next Tuesday, and they've got a number of guys who really use getting a full 45 minutes.
Well, this is more about injecting life into a team that was lacking it in the opening half for Sacramento Republic. I mentioned, Mike, right around the 35th minute mark that, you know, trying to find a way to go get a result and influential figures that were missing. You lost leadership. Well, now you get some of that back with Lee Desmond. He'll go over to the left side of that back three. Shane Wheat will shift over to the right, and Jared Timmer will move into that central piece. The idea being here is that he's a little bit better with his distribution. Of those three, need to control some of this conversation more than we saw in the first half. 15 minutes in to this game, Las Vegas Lights had 77% of possession. Now, Sacramento has never been one to shy away from a battle and winning those individuals. They also don't need the ball, but they need more than what we saw in that window. They crawled their way back in. Now it's time to dominate a little bit more if they want to get back into this match.
One and high, that's a clean challenge at the edge of the area from Howell. Allows it back to Arozarena. Hey fans, eFootball 2024 is here. So live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Dennis Sanchez. It's very possible he could walk on water the way he's miraculously turned Las Vegas around. Ball comes high, Noel! Noel! Well, he brought along a player that he knew quite well in Austin. Brought him with him, acquired via transfer shortly after he took the helm.
He's special, Valentin Noel. High level of talent coming out of Pitt. Learned a lot from Jay Vidovich, who challenged him in so many different ways, playing him as the 9, as the false 9, off the wing. Gave him so much responsibility within that group that is possession-based. Fits right into what they're trying to do here.
Ball hung across toward Gurr. Between Vidovich and Randy Waldrum, Pitt Soccer's in a really good place on the men's and the women's side right now. Gurr won it back. Bouncing ball that Gurr spearheads back through Wheat. Gurr serves this up, Arozarena plucks it.
I think the biggest thing you have to understand about Valentin Noel for the Las Vegas Lights is how do you attack your future as an international? It's something that's a regular conversation in the pyramid of U.S. soccer, because you're looking at arguably the second best player, statistically it was, in 2020. A guy who, over the course of his 4-year career, produced 35 goals, 13 assists. But in MLS's eyes, you have to quote-unquote waste an international spot. And so Austin didn't necessarily want to do that right away, which is why he got loaned to their 2 team. Had a really good season last year, which saw them take down the coveted title of the MLS Next Cup Championship. But his level is above that level, right? That's a league that's growing right now. They're very young with a couple collegiate players. Noel's certainly capable of something much higher, and so this is really a proving ground for him of guys who are making a career and what could be another step in the future, whether it's with the USL Championship team abroad or possibly staying stateside in MLS. No doubt whatsoever that that's a guy that you want in your locker room, though. Can tell you that much.
It was one of the initial building pieces for Dennis Sanchez. They began preseason just a few weeks after Jose Bautista took official ownership of the club. Spoke to having 7, 8 field players for those first couple of practices that have actually managed to stick it out to this point. And then they went to work, and they've built a pretty remarkable roster in short time. Ball swung across by Portillo. And a tough slide in, one that comes after the offside flag had been raised. It's Damia Villader, who's risen up after coming out of the Barca Academy, spent time at Girona, on the Barton and Iowa Western here in the U.S. Landed in Omaha for a couple of years, and certainly landed something on Sean Smart. But Dev, you were intrigued in the case of Smart specifically, right? Not only his improvement, but it was also a good blueprint to how Las Vegas views their roster build, because they are proud to bring in young players. They also know it's a very vast country, and you can get some pretty remarkable players out of the college game.
Especially with the change in the MLS Super Draft, where now all of a sudden you can go, I can't say kind of, you can go and attack these underclassmen in a good way. And so guys like Sean Smart are going to be coveted. But the path to pro isn't just one-sided now. It's not a 4-year college player that's going to go into the draft and then look elsewhere within the MLS pyramid. You have the ability to create your own pathway, and Sean Smart's a really good example of that. A guy who, between his freshman and sophomore seasons, had already trialed with multiple MLS and USL Championship clubs, so he was on the radar. Very good idea of what he could do at the next level. It's just finding the right fit for him. Dennis Sanchez feels like they have that. It's a guy who can be a marking back. He can play in a multitude of systems. More importantly, he's got that mentality that he wants to go out and work every single day. Dennis Sanchez telling us that they play small-sided games, and he treats it like a World Cup final.
So he's worked with a ton of high potential players, but it's the mentality that proves the separator time and time again. Smart not only has the high IQ that goes with his name, but also that real competitive streak. Ball through from Fortune. Back through Ngondo. There's Noel. He'll charge at the back line. His run got co-opted. Nigro comes high. Ngondo. Settled by Villader. Ngondo, familiar sight out wide, seeking Bennett. Off the turn, Pirano, that's good stuff. Injured Vegas player down. Pirano bites the dust. Crowd choosing to serenade the referee in this moment. All the while, Fortune is down. As part of the 2021 Gold Cup squad for Trinidad and Tobago.
He just got caught up underneath here when he went to ground. It looks like he might have turned his knee just a touch right there. Brilliant tackle, I might add. I know the local fans weren't happy, but there was no contact on the player. Got all ball, swept back across. I would say I thought there was an infraction against Christian Pirano. Referee felt otherwise.
I haven't mentioned it yet, by the way. Dennis Sanchez only has 4 available field players tonight. Asante, the longtime former Republic player, Emra Clementa. Sawyer Crisostomo could make his debut on an academy contract. And Alex Romero, who's only played 99 minutes this year. So they'll continue to take a look here, the injured Vegas player, and we'll give you a quick look at the earlier game in our USL doubleheader earlier today out of League One. It was a red out, the Henny Derby, Richmond and Forward Madison. They waited till the very end to decide this one. A tremendous crowd tonight. Bio Dwyer scoring the winner. It'd be Emilio Terzaghi, former MVP for the Kickers, bagging the opening goal. A 90th minute equalizer for Forward Madison, who are undefeated coming into the game. Jersey off, you thought that gig was done. 90 plus 11. The Henny stays in Richmond.
How all these circles are tied together, by the way. Forward Madison, first blemish on the season, the only team in League One that had to lose a match. Sitting second, finally fall, led by Matt Glazer, Mark Briggs' former assistant, and one of the men that helped lead the Monarchs to a USL Championship title back in 2019, taking down Louisville City 3-1 in that game.
And then Darren Sawatsky, if you want to go the other way, spent quite a while within the Seattle Sounders development system. Of course, Seattle will be in Sacramento on Tuesday night for the Open Cup quarterfinal. Las Vegas is going to have to make a change here. Fortune's 28th birthday has certainly been ruined now. And with his unfortunate injury, Salman Asante into the game. The 34-year-old Ghanaian, twice an MVP in Phoenix. Man, Asante is at his best. I'm not sure we've seen anything like it in the championship.
We haven't, nor not necessarily sure if we will ever again, at least in that window. He was unplayable for long stretches of time while he was with Phoenix Rising.
A 4-year stint in which he had 54 goals and 45 assists. And that included the COVID-shortened 2020 season. Las Vegas inching into the final third. By the way, the Richmond fan support, excellent again tonight at City Stadium. They've done a good job. They're calling it the experience. It's on the USL's social channels. Look behind the scenes with the Richmond support, one of the great clubs in U.S. soccer history. That high boot left something to be desired. Ultimately, this allowed to play through by Jeremy Shearer. And that trailing run was a hair behind, but it was ultimately Wheat who got there. Striding, firing, deflected. Karam's back out to Timmer. Millionth fan of the championship season wandering in tonight to Ardhealth Park. Experience in Richmond.
Sacramento have a real opportunity right now because with this change, Valentin Noel is going to be forced deeper defensively. He'll be shoulder to shoulder with JC Ngannou. He's not going to have that same sort of freedom that we saw free up all of those passages in the first half and the start of the second. So now Pinzon will operate in the 10, and defensively he's going to have to work a lot more. This is going to allow Luis Felipe and Justin Portillo to create more options coming through the middle.
Morano. Bounce toward the penalty spot. Felipe got there, lashed by Portillo, and the whistle has eventually been given.
In real time, it doesn't feel like there's a big amount of contact, but there is contact, and more importantly, it's where it's at. because you have to understand from the referee's viewpoint, he's basically seeing the backside of Luis Felipe. Again, there's not a ton in it, but from his angle, what he sees is the back shoulder onto the backside of Valentin Noel, a bit of contact, and then player to ground. A bit weak, but again, you have to understand the viewpoint of the referee in that situation.
5th time he's gone in for a tackle today. Couple of fouls for Luis Felipe. Toward Kieran Phillips. Sacramento, the #1 seed in the West, fell to Phoenix. Part of their awe-inspiring, fate-driven run to the championship last year. Gurr hangs that up, backside header, and allowed out by Arozarena. Kieran Phillips getting into the game. 3 goals in 10 games, 420 minutes this year.
The way that they've situated themselves on the inside. Las Vegas Lights main zone isn't occupying the same space that Noel was. He's almost playing side by side in this 2-2-2, which is giving Sacramento the ability to find their 2 holding midfielders and then start to spray things outside. And the rapidity of which they're doing so is going to be the real reason for success if they are able to find some. This is uncharted territory for Sacramento. It's only the 4th time this season they've conceded the opening goal. Barely concede at all. And when they do, they are normally the team that's out in front. In the previous 3, they have never been able to come back and get a win.
Gurr motors back into the frame. Here's Wheat. It's possible Las Vegas has matured out of it by now, but if there's a team you feel you can pick off and change that narrative, Vegas would have been top of the list coming into the year. It's a one by Gannon, the follically gifted Coleman Gannon. Phillips nearly streaked by Felipe, picked it off, leading Phillips. Phillips to the backside, and that did escape the line.
That better though, really well done with pressure here by Sacramento Republic. Again, it's the high line with numbers to support underneath. Most importantly, they push you to the outside, and that's where they start to squeeze. Although Phillips is beat here, he is just on the backside of it, and really well read by Luis Felipe. One of my favorite things that I like in the absence of Roro is the way that they try and recreate their pressure. It's both moving forward and defensively. Roro Lopez gets to roam, but now what they do is they tuck Portillo underneath, and although he can get isolated, all of a sudden it's a 4-man front stacked with 3 underneath, and then the striker up top that pushes you to the outside, and then they attack.
In the pocket, pitchforked ahead. Bennett. Turned away by Timmer. Stays with Las Vegas. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com. The latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Stayed in. There's Wheat. In zone, tossing aside Portillo. Foot race. And you should never count Phillips out of one of those. Forced Hafferty to make a play on it. Corner, Sacramento. As Gannon hobbles back in. Gingerly on that left leg. Vegas is going to make a change. Alex Romero appears poised to enter into the fray. Portillo got the header they wanted off their towering center back, Shane Wheat. Domineering header, Pinzon rising up for it. There's Howell. Ross, Portillo. Now nods it down to Noel. This is a result that would give the Lights a lot of belief. Sacramento's about to play their perhaps best hand up front now. So Ross's night is over, his 17th start in as many games this year for the Republic. And Herrera, who scored the winner against Hartford, comes in off the bench. Second sub moment utilized. Sacramento actually made a triple sub at halftime, so they've got just the one remaining regardless.
This is going to allow them to commit more bodies moving forward. It's going to change the structure underneath as well, with Justin Portillo having to cover a bit more ground, but it gives you numbers. You know, all of a sudden Jecker and Villadera, they'll play a little bit higher. You're going to try and force this lineup, and more importantly, you're trying to find a way to get that complement next to Kim Phillips up top. Juan Sebastian Herrera, they're hoping, is the one that's going to provide him that complement.
That's the reality for Sacramento, right? They never really have gotten both feet on the ground at the same time this year. The year starts, you start unbeaten, but a lot of draws. Ball bouncing toward Phillips. He's trying to hold up play. Ball slashed back out toward Ngando. But when you finally feel like you're starting to figure it out, you play arguably your best game of the year against San Jose. Pirano, that will deflect out of play for a corner. You end up that week losing Cicerone, and then in that game losing Rodrigo Lopez. Howell did the dirty work on that occasion. Couple of changes coming. That's it for Coleman Gannon. Alex Romero on in his stead. And then the goal scorer coming off. Emmer Clementa coming into the game. Christian Pinzon in the 10th minute of play, back when we were all baking in the sunshine. And, well, how do you sneak this to the near post of Vitiello?
One of the things that you ask of if you're a manager is, listen, I'm going to lead you to the promised land, but once we get down in to that attacking third, you've got to find a way to be creative. And credit here has to go to Pinzon, because he had no support whatsoever and was able to create something out of nothing. It was that simple. Good recovery defensively by Sacramento. They just forgot about that little space available at the top of the 18. Pinzon recognized it and made him pay.
Pinzon from Bellflower down in Southern California. Sometimes you just go, oh yeah, from California, as if he's not 405 miles from Sacramento where he grew up. And then Emmer Clementa, who grew up in the Bay Area, in off the bench, who was part of that 2014 expansion team that won the title, in as well. See Mark Briggs waving this team forward. Portillo back through Wheat. Really congested midfield to try and break through for Sacramento at the moment.
This is also going to cause a lot of moving pieces along that back line with the injection of Emra Clementa into this mix here. He'll move into that center back spot next to Howell. Hafferty will go out wide. Smart comes a little bit higher. The midfield three still rotating. Solomon Asante trying to get acclimatized. And with 20 minutes to go, the consistency of performance that we saw in the first half by Las Vegas Lights starting to fade, and all those battles, that level of energy lacking from Sac has taken quite a few steps over the last 10 minutes.
Ngondo shown his second yellow card of the year. Former number 5 overall pick in the MLS Super Draft, and then the Las Vegas bench just saw a yellow given to Dennis Sanchez. You can be assured if Las Vegas leaves here with 3 points, their entire bench could get a yellow card and they wouldn't care. You give Joey Batista a yellow card, he wouldn't care either.
It's not really that long of an argument when you've got 5 sitting there and waiting their opportunity for their number to be called.
Portillo swings in the service, header, oh, what a save! Ball knocked away by Rosarena, falls in front and ends up wide. The final whack from Phillips goes off target. And that finally gave a little adrenaline to this Sacramento partisan crowd.
This is a pretty incredible save from Raiko Rosarena. It's not just his reflexes, but it's all of the players in front of him. There's so much traffic that he has to adjust to. I wondered right there if there was a handball.
Romero.
Watch when this ball pops up and comes back to the top. Right here. The left arm of Romero, I'm not so sure that that didn't hit him. Everybody else, I'm with them. Off the left hand, referee says no. But understand this about Raiko Rosarena. Yes, he fell into it in that 2021 final for the Tampa Bay Rowdies that fell short against Orange County. They were very clear about their intentions, that they felt at that point in time, due to the injury of Evan Laurel that was going to be extended, they felt he was going to be their #1 overall, specifically because of his explosive ability coming off that line. Perfectly demonstrated on that save.
20 minutes remaining, and it keeps Sacramento a goal behind. The Lights have given up 28 goals this year, but they feel like they've found more balance as this year has gone along, and some of that is a delineation of piano carriers and piano players. You look within this game, and a lot of the dominant work put in by Ngondo, by Howell and Hafferty in the back. Sacramento has struggled to find their best form tonight. Worse ways to watch a game than that. Hop on the couch. Here's Nigro. Back from Pirano. Gurr. Wrong side of Phillips. Well won by Felipe. Phillips serves across, Pirano high. If he gets really good contact on that, it would take something extraordinary from Arena. Best chance by far tonight for Sacramento.
Great step, though. Once again, it's the high line of pressure, and well read by Luis Felipe, who gets very fortunate. Referee doesn't blow the whistle there. And then how's the vision by Kieran Phillips? Selfish striker, could have easily tried to take it in a one-on-one to the near post, had a bad angle, and recognized that Pirano had inverted himself, who plain and simple has to do better in that situation. Gotta find a way to challenge the goalkeeper there.
Away by Nigro. Gurr. Pirano. Out of the reach. The aforementioned Gurr.
That's a foul, though, right here.
They will bring it back. And a yellow to boot.
It's a beautiful move by Jack Gurr as the ball rotated in the midfield, took off to the end line. Nigro got caught ball watching a little bit, and his flat feet didn't allow him to chase Jack Gurr down into the corner. Just watch the bottom of your screen again. Head starts to turn, and oh boy, his hips are flat. He's got to keep his body positioning open there so that when the ball is played, he allows himself the ability to chase. Really well read by Jack Gurr.
Set pieces have proven troublesome for Las Vegas, but Arena was able to wipe it away a moment ago. Portillo hangs this up. We are 30 minutes into the second half, and even though the sun has gone down, it is still extremely hot. Indomitable 84 degrees. And the conversation continues with Mark Briggs and his staff trying to figure out a way to turn this thing around. Meanwhile, Las Vegas grabbed the goal in the 10th minute from Christian Pinzon. Is that enough on this night to see their 6th win of the year? To carry them into 6th place. Some coaches use the small whiteboard. Dennis Sanchez needs the whole thing.
He's trying to find a way to get this team to come off that back line and advance themselves higher up on the field. Understanding that for Las Vegas Lights, for them to be successful in the game, they do have to be on the ball. You don't have to win the possession battle by the large margin that we saw at the beginning of this match that was basically 4-1 in average. But they've been sitting much too deep. They have not had a shot in this game since the 48th minute, and right now are just trying to withstand all the pressure that is Sacramento Republic here in the second half. Give Mark Briggs credit, because the changes that he's made have made immediate impact. We've seen it from Kieran Phillips, Juan Sebastian Herrera has been involved. More importantly, your midfield has come higher. So you've allowed Luis Felipe and Christian Pirano to go and explore this game. That's defensively providing pressure, but also finding ways to get into the channel and still being those late runs, eclipsing right into the top of the box. They've got a couple of chances. They have not been able to get the go-ahead goal. Or game tying, we should say. That many chances. That has been the way this game has gone, though. Tale of two halves for sure.
Pirano and Sacramento trying to find their way back in. A little added energy with the 2-minute hiatus. An excessive heat warning in effect in Sacramento. This afternoon it was 109 degrees. The low, which should happen in the overnight before dawn, 68. A 41-degree spread. But it's a dry heat. As Ben Pierman joked with me last week, dry, wet, doesn't matter. It's 115. That was before their match in the desert against Phoenix. ultimately Phoenix, the big newsbreaker this week. Firing of Danny Stone, who had stepped in as the head coach following Juan Guerra's departure for Houston. That some 7.5 months following Phoenix hoisting the title from the number 6 seed in the West last year. They took down Sacramento along the way.
There's so much pressure that comes with that job, right? The expectation that no matter what, you are going to win immediately. Very difficult place to coach. One of the more talked about teams in USL Championship historically, not just because of their results, but the commitment by the front office and ownership group to continue to advance the narrative in that part of the country. Not far-fetched to say that, what, top 3, maybe 4 job in the entire league?
If not for the aforementioned pressure, no?
Bingo. Assuming that's why you didn't apply?
That's one of many reasons. Chance for a quick throw for Pirano, and everyone's got their back turned. Gurr, Pirano. This is a scary group. Phillips! It is a foul. It is against Sacramento. It's a dive and a yellow for simulation.
You can't convince me this is a dive in real time. The arm away from the body. I'm not necessarily sure that I'm pointing to the spot in that situation because there is a touch on the ball there. Watch. Right there. The only contact that occurs is on the arm. It's not enough for there to be a foul. I'm not necessarily sure it's a dive, though.
The question that I'll ask, however, is there's the slam of the ball, right? So was that whistled?
That's the easy part.
Was that whistled as a handball followed by descent as opposed to a yellow for simulation? The speed at which that all occurred leaves that in question.
Bingo.
Because that I could understand. If you're going to say no foul at all, Phillips grabs the ball, it's a handball, you give that, and then he slams the ball down, you could very easily give a yellow for that.
And watch it once again. Comes in, no contact there. Certainly not from the rum coming over by Malik Howell. Again, the left arm is up against him, but although there's a little bit of contact, the right arm is out for Kieran Phillips. Certainly not enough for him to be taken to ground, nor for the referee to point to the penalty mark.
Well, he won't be getting the Christmas card. Hey, if you can't watch the match, turn on SiriusXM FC 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access. Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, plus live matches from USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. It's all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app. Stephen Hogan, who leads the sporting department in Colorado Springs, the guest this past week. It's also available on the USL YouTube page in stunning low-definition video. Gurr. Reaching the end line. Kept away from Clementa. Felipe. High arcing ball, loops ultimately above the crossbar, and Sacramento again rebuked. Another game tomorrow night here on CBS Sports Network out of the championship. And as Colorado Springs always puts their best foot forward for the 4th of July, home to the Air Force Base. Switchbacks welcome Tulsa tomorrow night. See that game right here, 9 p.m. Eastern time, 7 Mountain time. You always have a magnificent fireworks show coming off of that.
You a fireworks fan?
You know, I like these drones. It's good for, you know, air pollution and such, so I've been told. That being less air pollution.
They can do some really clever things.
Are you the person who goes to Vegas and stares at the fountain?
Yeah, that's it.
That's okay.
Pretty sure I said Dennis Sanchez could walk on that water earlier in this show, too. Ball up from Gurr. Pirano has to track around.
Pirano, dude! Oh my God, are you blind?
Lee Desmond getting forward. Felipe will look to recirculate through Wheat. It's the outside of a three-back getting forward, whips in the service. And Noel charges the other direction. Took till 90+11 to find the winner in our League One game earlier tonight. There's Vitiello. There's Rosarena. Las Vegas claimed a couple weeks ago when they were facing a team at the bottom of the standings. Respect every opponent the same, whether they're in first or in last place. A big win over a historically good Pittsburgh team that's hit a rough spell in front of goal to start the year. To make 7 unbeaten, 3 wins in that span, but for Pittsburgh, Sacramento to be among them would be pretty incredible, believe it or not. Change coming here. Ricketts did not feature in the 1-0 win against Hartford over the weekend. He comes on here to try and provide a spark. That's it for Wheat. Sacramento is going to have to change shape here down the stretch, seeking a goal.
He did well for himself, though, Shane Wheat, because he was the strongest of the back three in the first half and locked down that right side here in the second. I understand that the Lights have not been as adventurous coming forward. Shane Wheat did a really good job of shutting down any offenses that did come his direction here in the second.
Galloping through the challenge. Ball leaned back toward Noel. Got prodded away. By the way, that's the 5th and final change for the Republic. Ball scooped up by Howell. Flag is still down. I think everyone thought that'd be offside.
Flag's down. That was a foul, and the whole idea for the final minutes that are remaining in this game for Sacramento is going to be tempo, trying to figure out a way to open things up for Jonathan Ricketts and Damian Villadere on the outside. The Lights are tempting fate here. They have gone into a deep block. They're not quick enough. They're flat out tired right now. A shortened bench for Dennis Sanchez, and they're having trouble keeping up with how direct and fast the Sacramento team is playing.
Felipe. Ball maintained by Rosarena. It's been 40 minutes now without a shot for Las Vegas. To your deft point. Pirano's down. He's gesturing at the same spot that was lacerated early in the game. He was pouring blood. Now, the interesting thing for Sacramento, they've used all 5 changes, but you could argue this, if needed, could be usage of a concussion sub. Because we saw Rafael Jauregui get up off the bench a moment ago. Mark Briggs pointed toward his head as he gestured him down the bench.
How do you still have a job, Briggs? I don't know, man. Not looking good.
Well, a couple of thoughts right now. Number one, interesting that someone picks up a knock 20 minutes into the game, and then you come back 60+ minutes later. The idea here being that there was another coming to for Christian Prano, this is earlier on in the match when he's on the far side of the field. He was chasing defensively, and just watch the elbow as he comes back through right there on the backside of Gennaro Nigro.
Well, Prano's night is done. That is, I've never seen that protocol used that way before.
No, and by the way, shout out to the Peanut Gallery for giving the head coach from Sacramento a hard time, asking how he still had a job sitting second in the Western Conference, one of the last 3 remaining teams in the USL Championship of the final 8 of the Open Cup.
Well, and if you suffer a loss here, it will be the 9th in the last 53 games. That is an immediate whistle.
Well, I got to tell you, they're very fortunate that they're calling him in an offside position. This would have been a yellow, and it would have specifically been his 2nd yellow.
Offside or not,
Yeah,
the way he leads with his head there asks a whole different question. Nigro is spared a 2nd yellow. Seven added minutes. Out of play, stays with Las Vegas. Nigro down in the corner. Now you can look and argue that this is not even close their best win this year if they can see it out. Ngondo, Asante, Gurr took it away. I mean, Dev, how often do you and I look at opponents coming into games and go, well, who have they beaten? It's taken in by Rosa Reina. Leans it upfield. You beat El Paso right before they fire their coach. You beat Oakland on the road right before they move on from their coach. You beat San Antonio, who have really struggled this year, to say the least. Miami team at the bottom of the East, and the Pittsburgh team that hasn't scored in 5 games. Go to Sacramento and win, and we're having a completely different chat.
4 out of those 5 victories, by the way, and 5 of their 10 overall against some of the lowest scoring teams in the entire USL Championship. So you're not exactly running away with the argument that this is a quality win. That's a different conversation out, if you can see this out.
This would be a 6th win, and if they keep this score line, it'd be the 5th by shutout, to your point about facing some of the more offensively inept sides. Five more minutes. Ngondo, here's Nigro. 7th year in the league for Las Vegas. They have never come to Sacramento and won. They are on the verge. Herrera. Dropping it in for Phillips. Phillips bashing his way towards Smart. Knocked off the referee. Inadvertent contact. It'll be a drop for Vegas. And Las Vegas will spend the rest of July on the road. They'll go to El Paso, then a bye week. Go to Colorado Springs at altitude July 26th. And then go straight to New Mexico on July 31st. Free kick, Las Vegas, halfway through stoppage, and a yellow to Portillo. That is Portillo's third yellow card in 5 games for the Republic.
It's a frustrating time right now for Sacramento Republic, who did not start well. Probably would have gotten himself in trouble with the high boot in general on Valentin Noel, yet alone the pull from behind.
Clementa leaks the clock away. He arrived in Sacramento as a striker. He finished as an accomplished center back. Vitiello upfield. A rare instance where he's beaten to his near post. The 10th minute from Christian Pinzon, and that may be the difference tonight. 2.5 minutes remaining. And think back, this Vegas team got slaughtered in Charleston back on April the 27th. Dennis Sanchez said that was a wake-up call. We needed to be better defensively. After that game, he showed that Charleston themselves were annihilated by San Antonio last year, 7-0. That was one of the key proving points in turning their season around. One that ended one spot kick away from the title. Portillo, Felipe. Tried to keep it on the deck. Romero upfield. Asante, second bite of the apple never came. Jauregui. Pestered by Asante. Free kick, Sacramento. Quick take, the Republic want to go. Gurr. Header back across, Jauregui! Pulled down by Arozarena. Oh, that would have been an awesome moment for the Sacramento Academy product.
That's
Instead, Arozarena's there.
Beautiful ball movement by Sacramento Republic, and finding their inflection point. Jauregui pushing that level up high, does everything correct here. If not for the aforementioned, and he's had some critical saves tonight. In dramatic fashion, I might add.
2 or 3 enormous moments from Arozarena tonight. Can the Republic lasso this one more time tonight? That's a goal kick, and it may take us right to the wire. Nope, they say that it gotten out on the far touchline. Ultimately, it is to Sacramento's detriment, it appears. Well, this is it for the Republic. Can they salvage a point? Can Vegas see this out? Gurr hangs it up. Arozarena pulls it down. And that is full time tonight. Las Vegas get a goal in the 10th minute from Pinzon. They bunker in late, and they see it out against the Republic. Their first ever win in Sacramento.
Simple enough for the home team. They came out flat. They struggled, they had no energy, couldn't establish a rhythm, and took them about 60 minutes to do so. But at that point in time, the damage had already been done by this Las Vegas Lights team that grabs the win of the year, no doubt about that, one of the best in their organization history. For the team that had never gone longer than 4 games unbeaten, they've almost doubled it. Back-to-back wins, now 7 games unbeaten, 3-0-4 in that time frame, and moving up towards a home playoff spot in the Western Conference.
Pinzon, the winner in the 10th minute of play, is first for Las Vegas. These ain't your Lashbrook Lights. Las Vegas looks like a legit contender on this night. A 1-0 win against Sacramento, validated in the heat in Northern California. We wrap it up on the other side of the break on CBS Sports Network. Las Vegas, no stranger to celebration. What stays in Sacramento on this occasion, a 3-point performance by the road team. Las Vegas 1-0 of the Republic as we wrap this one up. Mike Devin, here we go. Take a look at the full-time highlights. Pinzon scores the winner in this one. Comes very early, and then it asks the Lights to sit on that lead.
They were really efficient on the ball tonight, the Las Vegas Lights, and none more so, to be fair, than the build on the only goal of the night. Valentin Noel comes deep into the pocket, and what they do here is they create one-on-ones on the back line, and notice as Sacramento retreats, there's all of this space that opens up atop the box that the midfielders don't drift over in support to help close down. Pinzon recognizes it, grabs the opening goal, his first in a Lights uniform, and they're off and running. JC Ngondo would continue that conversation. Really well taken here. Over-aggressive by Jared Timmer that sees Corey Bennett create something on his own. It's just a simple little spin-off into the space that Timmer had vacated. Unfortunately for him, one of the best informed goalkeepers in the USL Championship, Danny Vitiello, is in goal. He parries it aside. Foul in the near touchline. Good power coming back through here by Sacramento, but unfortunately pushed to the side by Raiko Rosarino, one of his 5 saves. That was the most impressive.
And so this Lights team seeing this game into the final 15 minutes in position to take the full 3 points. That's when the Republic really started to get going. They find Pirano in a dangerous spot all alone.
It's a great trailing run, Mike, but this is one of the most difficult things to do when your momentum is carrying you one way. You're trying to redirect the other direction. Your body's natural position is to lean back, and he sets it up over top of the bar. A recycled ball put back through. Another one of the saves from Rosarina. This one a little bit easier, still headed for the upper corner. The substitute, Jauregui, does a really good job just to get this on frame, but not enough momentum. And the Lights are now 7 games unbeaten, 3 wins in that window.
It's their longest run in the league in a single season in franchise history. There's the final stats, your final thoughts?
It's the first time this year in a Las Vegas Lights win that I've seen them not be at their best for long periods of time and still find a way to win. There's something to be said, Mike, about a team winning and not winning pretty. That's the most important thing here for Dennis Sanchez. They weren't at their best. They found a way on the road against one of the best teams in the USL Championship.
Well, New Mexico found a way earlier today as well. They moved to 34 points. They remain top of the Western Conference. Las Vegas were able to make up ground. They're right behind Colorado Springs on goal difference. You'll see them here tomorrow night when they see FC Tulsa on CBS Sports Network. Tulsa has games in hand on everybody in the West. That's it. For those on the East Coast, happy 4th of July. For those out west, enjoy another couple hours into the third. Las Vegas, a 1-0 win. Hardly a roulette kind of performance from the beginning. They found a way to really get under the Republic's skin. Switchbacks in Tulsa tomorrow, 9 Eastern, right here on CBS Sports Network. For Devin, our crew, Mike, saying this a presentation of CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
They're going to cause a lot of moving pieces. They're going to